ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 23, Maharaj Prithu's Going Back Home. We are at section 30, text 30. Just a minute. So, we are at text 30. So, yesterday what we have seen is Devata's wives of the Devatas, Deva Patni, they are glorifying Prithu Patni, that is Arci Maharani, and her amazing activities of going Sahagaman and attaining Patiloka. And in this case, the Patiloka is none other than Vaikuntha planets. Right. So we come to text 30. इत्थानुभूतानुभावासौ पृथुः स भगवत्तमः कीर्तितं तस्य चरितम् उद्दामं चरितस्य ते. Translation.
Maitreya continued, the greatest of all devotees, Maharaj Prithu, was very powerful, and his character was liberal, magnificent, and magnanimous. Thus I have described him to you as far as possible. Purport. In this verse, the word Bhagavad Tamaha is very significant, for the word Bhagavat is used especially to refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the word Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is derived from the word Bhagavat. Sometimes, however, we see that the word Bhagavan is used for great personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Narad Muni. This is the case with Prithu Maharaj, who is described here as the best of the Bhagavans or the best of the Lords. A person can be so addressed only if he is a great personality who exhibits extraordinary and uncommon features, or who attains the greatest goal after his disappearance, or who knows the difference between knowledge and ignorance. In other words, the word Bhagwan should not be used for ordinary persons. Hare Krishna.
So here, Maitreya Muni continues. He says, this personality, Ityan Bhutanu Prathussah Bhagavattamah. He is the best of the Bhagavats. Kiritam Charitam Uddam. Look at the word Uddam. Uddam here means very great, right? Very Atyanta Mahan Charitra Vale. Uddam Charitam. Marathi, the word Uddam has a negative connotation. Uddam Pana Kuru Noko, like that. Okay. But here the word Uddama means Uddama Charitam. Charitam Uddama. Right. Very, very great Charitra. And I have explained to you. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the word Bhagavattama. Bhagavattama means greatest of the lords. So word Bhagavan is used for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, defined by Parasharamani, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya, Viryasya Yashashasriya, Jnana Vairagyayaschaiva, Stannam Bhaga Itangana. These are the six. At the same time, there are Jiva Tattvas who exhibit such phenomenal Bhagavata, right? And they are also called as Bhagavan sometimes. Prabhupada says sometimes, however, great personalities like Lord Brahma, Shiva, Narada Muni, they are also called as Bhagavan Narada. We have seen previously. They are the best of the Bhagavans or the best of the Lords. Look at the word Lords, L there, L small. Okay. So we are not talking about the Lords in this case, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they are exhibiting the extraordinary and uncommon features, and thus they should be given the greatest respect. And one such personality is Srila Prabhupada himself, right? That extraordinary preaching, you know, 500 million copies of Bhagavad Gita are sold in 80 languages in 50 years, which is phenomenal in the history of humanity, in the history of Vaishnavism. And therefore, such personalities may be called as Bhagavatamaha. But another point is, Bhagavan should not be used for ordinary person. This is one point. And the second point is, whenever the great personality is called as Bhagavan, he should not be mistaken as, the Supreme Lord himself, right? The typical, the trap. People call somebody powerful as Bhagavan and then start worshipping them as Bhagavan only. So that trap should be given up. Now we come to the final section of this Charitra, text 31 to 39, the beautiful Falashruti that is being explained. As in the class with Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, I was asking the same question. That Falashruti is so amazing. Prithu Falashruti. And it is very soothing to the devotees. However, devotees are not attracted by this. We want to, study, dedicate our life to Prithu Charitra. But here is the Falashruti, text 31 to 39. य इदं सुमहत्पुण्यं श्रद्धया विहितः पठेत् श्रावयेत् शृणुयात् वापि सपृथो पदविम्यात्. Translation.
Translation: any person who describes the great characteristics of King Prithu with faith and determination, whether he reads or hears of them himself or help others to hear of them, is certain to attain the very planet which Maharaj Prithu attained. In other words, such a person also returns home to the Vaikuntha planets, back to Godhead. Purport: in the execution of devotional service, Sarvanam Kirtanam Vishnoha is especially stressed. This means that bhakti or devotional service begins by hearing and chanting about Vishnu. When we speak of Vishnu, we also refer to that which relates to Vishnu. In the Shiva Purana, Lord Shiva recommends Vishnu worship to be the topmost worship, and that better than Vishnu worship is worship of the Vaishnava or anything that is related to Vishnu. The fact is explained herein that hearing and chanting about a Vaishnava is as good as hearing and chanting about Vishnu. For Maitreya has explained that anyone who hears about Prithu Maharaj with attention also attains the planet which Maharaj Prithu attained. There is no duality between Vishnu and the Vaishnava, and this is called Advaya Jnana. A Vaishnava is as important as Vishnu, and therefore Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote in his Guru Ashtaka, Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastrei Uktas bhavyata iva sadviha. Kintu prabhore yah priya iva tasya vande guruho Shri Charana Arvindam. The spiritual master is honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and is followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari. The Supreme Vaishnava is the spiritual master, and he is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said that sometimes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to chant the names of the gopis. Some of the Lord's students tried to advise him to chant the name of Krishna instead, but upon hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very angry with the students. The controversy on this subject reached a point that after this incident, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to take sannyasa because he was not taken very seriously in his Grihastha ashram. The point is that since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted the names of the gopis, worship of the gopis or the devotees of the Lord is as good as devotion service rendered directly to the Lord. It is also stated by the Lord himself that devotion service to his devotees is better than service offered directly to him. Sometimes the Sahajya class of devotees are interested only in Krishna's personal pastimes to the exclusion of the activities of the devotees. This type of devotee is not on a very high level, One who sees the devotee and the Lord on the same level has further progressed. Hare Krishna.
Sa idam, ye idam, sumahat punyam, shraddha vihitah patet. So this pastime is sumahat punyam, right? Punya shravana kirtana, shravayet, shrunvayat vapi, sapratho padavim yat. Any person who describes these great characteristics of Maharaj Prithu with faith and determination, whether he reads or hears or helps others to hear, is certainly to attain the very planet of Maharaj Prithu attained, that is Vaikuntha Loka. Right? So all the great personalities who are attending here, Hare Krishna to you. Okay. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Shranuvatam Swakatah Krishna, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Swaranam. That the devotional service begins with Shravanam, hearing and chanting about Lord Vishnu, and this is considered to be the highest worship. In the Shiva Puran, there is a discussion where Parvati Mata is asking that, my dear husband, Lord Shiva, there are so many different types of worships, but what is the best worship of all the worships? Now, this is a loaded question, right? And then Lord Shiva very happy to answer, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur Aradhana param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. That amongst different kinds of Aradhana, Devi, my dear Parvati, Vishnu Aradhana Param. Aradhana to the Supreme Lord is considered, Lord Vishnu is considered highest. But there is one more above that. What is that? Tasmat Parataram Devi. But beyond that, O Devi, Tadiyanam Samarchanam. The Aradhana performed unto the devotees of the Lord is considered higher than Vishnu Aradhana also. And thus, hearing and chanting about the devotees is as potent as hearing and chanting about Vishnu, because there is no duality between Vishnu and Vaishnavas. And this is called as real Achintya. So, non duality not from the Mayavadi perspective that Vishnu and Vaishnavas they merge with each other. No, we have already seen in the second canto description of the Vaikuntha, where the Vaikuntha Vasis how they are beautifully serving the Supreme Lord, and there is a great variety in Vaikuntha. Correct? It is not Nirvishesha. It is not Shunya. There is a great variety which is existing. And thus, the devotee of the Lord, especially spiritual master, is given a very high respect, as great a respect as the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada quotes here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastra, Uktas Tatha Bhavyate Eva Sadvi. That not only Samasta Shastra, not only acknowledged in all the revealed scriptures, that is Samasta Shastra, it is also being practiced by the great authorities. What is that is being practiced? That the spiritual master is to be honored as great as the Supreme Lord, although Kintu Prabhuriya Priya Eva Tasya. He is Prabhur Priya Tasya. He is the servant of the Supreme Lord. Because we are honoring the spiritual master as the Supreme Lord doesn't mean the spiritual master has become God. No. He has to be honored as God. At the same time, he remains the servant of the Supreme Lord. And then and this we can see the great authority is also doing that. In fact, the Vedavyas, when he received Narada Muni, we have seen in the first canto, Vidhivat, Narada worshipped Vedavyas as if, no, sorry, Vedavyas ji, he worshipped Narada Muni as if he would worship the Supreme Lord. Although Vedavyas himself is a literary incarnation, but he followed. So the authorities also have followed this, that the spiritual master is to be worshipped as good as the Supreme Lord. Now about glorifying devotees more than the Lord, Chaitanya, here Srila Prabhupada quotes a very interesting pastime. One day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya, he was in great ecstasy, and instead of chanting Krishna's names, Hare Krishna, he was chanting the names of the gopis out of very intense separation, feeling from the gopis. And some of the students mocked him, and there was a big misunderstanding between his students and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the students tried to disrespect the Lord. And then the Lord was feeling, oh, they do not understand my position, who is the Supreme Lord himself. And therefore, because they do not understand the position in Grihastha Ashram, and therefore he decided to take sannyas. And then, And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to Katwa and took sannyas at the age of 24. Right. So this is the motto of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is a beautiful verse in Chaitanya Manjusha. Tatra na eva paraha. I'll get back to that verse. I'm just not recalling the verse. But which describes that Aradhananam Sarvesham, how all other things related to Lord Vishnu are as important as Lord Vishnu himself. Prabhupada quotes that sometimes the Sahajiya class of the devotees, they think only worshipable personality is Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. And the only worshipable pastimes are only Rasalila. And everything else is discounted. And thus these people, they will be, not reading even the other cantos of Bhagavatam. Even within the 10th canto, they will only read the Rasa Panchodhyaya and thus degrade themselves by so many concocted activities. Right? No, Vishnu Leela is as important as Krishna Leela. Lord Vishnu creating the universe is as important as Lord Krishna dancing in the Rasa dance. And that's why, although Parikshit Maharaj has just 7 days left, he's inquiring about in detail about Sarga, Visarga, Ityadi, including up to Rasalila. Everything is covered in Srimad Bhagavatam. So one should not consider one topic to be more important than another, because every topic is equally important, because every topic is related to the Supreme Lord. Text 32. Brahmano Brahma Varchasvi Rajanyo Jagatipatihi Vaishya Patan Vipatatpati Syat Shudra Sattam Sattatamam Iyat. Translation.
If one hears of the characteristics of Prithu Maharaj and is a Brahmana, he becomes perfectly qualified with Brahmanical powers. If he is a Kshatriya, he becomes a king of the world. If he is a Vaishya, he becomes a master of other Vaishyas and many animals. And if he is a Shudra, he becomes the topmost devotee. Purport. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that one should become a devotee regardless of one's condition, whether one is without desire, akama, or with desire, sakama, or whether one desires liberation, moksha kama, he is advised to worship the Supreme Lord and execute devotional service unto him. By so doing, one attains all perfection in any field of life. The process of devotional service, especially hearing and chanting, is so powerful that it can bring a person to the perfectional stage. In this verse, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are mentioned. But here it should be understood that reference is to the Brahmana who is born in a Brahmanical family, the Kshatriya who is born in a Kshatriya family, the Vaishya who is born in Vaishya family, and the Shudra who is born in a Shudra family. But whether one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, he can attain perfection simply by hearing and chanting. To take birth in a family of Brahmana is not the ultimate finishing touch. One must have the power of a Brahmana, which is called Brahma Tejas. Similarly, taking birth in a royal family is not the all in all. One must possess the power to rule the world. Similarly, taking birth as a Vaishya is not all. One must possess hundreds or thousands of animals, specifically cows, and rule over other Vaishyas as Nanda Maharaj did in Vrindavan. Nanda Maharaj was a Vaishya who possessed 900,000 cows and ruled over many cowherd men and boys. A person who is born in a Sudra family can become greater than a Brahmana simply by accepting devotional service and giving oral reception to the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees.
Brahmano Brahma Varchasvi. The Brahmana will become Brahma Varchasvi, Rajanyo Jagatipati. Kshatriya will exhibit the great Kshatriya Tejas. Vaishya, Pathan Vitapati, and Vaishya will have huge amount of dhana. And Shudra, Satyamat Piyat, right? And the Shudra will become a great devotee, topmost devotee, simply by hearing the Prithu Charitra. And the good news is, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. In Kali Yuga, everybody, literally, almost everybody is Shudra. So, there is this Charitra can elevate one to the topmost devotional platform. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Bhagavatam is recommending devotional service regardless of one's condition. There is no purification required to start devotional service. Purification will automatically begin with devotional service. Right. And therefore, Bhagavatam says, अकामो सर्वकामो वा मोक्षकामो दारधि तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन यजेत पुरुषं परम. That somebody has akama, no desire, sir. Sarva kama, I want everything. Putram dehi, dhanam dehi, saukyam dehi, markam dehi, admission dehi, everything. Akamo sarva kamo va moksha kama. Ya fir somebody is detached, wants moksha. Udaradhi, tivrena bhakti yogena. All these are udaradhi. Why? Because udara sarva evaiti. All these artho jitnyasura artharthi. Simply by the decision of surrendering to Krishna, the person becomes magnanimous. Right? Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. One has to be engaged in hearing and chanting the holy names and the charitra of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Srila Prabhupada says that to take birth in a particular family is not the ultimate finishing touch. To take birth in the family of a Brahmana, one will get many Brahminical environment to advance in the life as a Brahmana, but that is not the finishing touch, right? The finishing touch, and similarly with the Kshatriya family, similarly with the Vaishya family, extremely rich Vaishya families. They actually, many of them lived in Kolkata, Bengal, and later Naxalites, they just drove them away to Bombay. But some of the classical Marwadi base is from Calcutta, and they were all Vaishnavas, Vaishnav Vanik from Saptagram. Or one is born in a Shudra family. By simply engaging in devotional service, one can develop all the good qualities and become the greatest of the devotee. Text 32, 33. Trikritva idamakaranya naro narir athavarhuta apraja subrajatamo nirdhano dhanavattamaha. Translation.
It does not matter whether one is man or woman. Anyone who, with great respect, hears this narration of Maharaj Prithu will become the parent of many children if without children, and will become the richest if without money. Purport: materialistic persons who are very fond of money and great families worship different demigods to attain their desires, especially Goddess Durga, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma. Such materialistic persons are called Shri Aishwarya Prajepasavaha. Shri means beauty, Aishwarya means riches, Praja means children, and Ipasavaha means desiring. As described in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, one has to worship various demigods for different types of benedictions. However, here it is indicated that simply by hearing of the life and character of the Maharaj Prithu, one can have both riches and children in enormous quantities. One simply has to read and understand the history of the life and activities of Prithu Maharaj. It is advised that one read them at least 3 times. Those who are materially afflicted will so benefit by hearing of the Supreme Lord and his devotees that they need not go to any demigod. The word Supraja Tamaha, surrounded by many children, is very significant in this verse. For one may have many children, but may not have any qualified children. But here, however, it is stated, Supraja Tamaha, that all children thus attained would be qualified in education, wealth, beauty, and strength, everything complete.
Yeah. Trikritva. 3 बार उच्चारण करने से, by hearing this beautiful pastime 3 times, idam akaranya naro narya, either nara or nari, it doesn't matter whether one is man or woman, anyone with great respect hears the narration of Maharaj Prithu will become apraja suprajotamaha nirdhano dhanavattamaha, he will be apraja, will become father or mother of many children if he is without children, and the richest man if he is without money. Okay. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the materialistic persons are very fond of money, great families, and thus they will be worshipping different demigods. Right. Shri means beauty, Aishwarya means riches, Praja means children, and Ipsitha, desiring all this. Right. The typical Satyanarayana Puja we have. The Patram De, what is that? putram dehi, saukyam dehi, dhanam dehi, gruham dehi, long, big list of dehi. And Srimad Bhagavatam explains this in second canto, which demigod to approach for what material benefit. And the conclusion of that big list of almost like 25 demigods there, the conclusion is that akamo sarva kamo va moksha kamo daradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. That simply by approaching the Supreme Lord with full of desires or no desires, one's life will be perfect, and thus one need not approach any demigod. And here in this case, if one simply reads and understands the history, the life and activities of Maharaj Prithu, at least 3 times materially afflicted person will attain all these qualifications. So materially afflicted means one who is desiring material benefits from this spiritual activity will receive material benefits. But a devotee, Ei Krishna Bhakta Sei Bada Chatur. A devotee is very intelligent. He knows what to desire from what. Right. So he purifies his desires, and thus what he will attain, that will be coming, that will be coming in the further Falashruti. Text 34. अस्पष्टकीर्ति सुयशा मूर्खो भवति पंडितः इदं स्वस्ति अयं पुंसाम् अमंगलम निवारणम्. Translation.
Also, one who hears this narration 3 times will become very reputable if he is not recognized in society, and he will become a great scholar if he is illiterate. In other words, hearing of the narrations of Prithu Maharaj is so auspicious that it drives away all bad luck. Purport. In the material world, everyone wants some profit, some adoration, and some reputation. By associating in different ways with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee, one can very easily become opulent in every respect. Even if one is not known or recognized by society, he becomes very famous and important if he takes to devotional service and preaching. As far as education is concerned, one can become recognized in society as a great learned scholar simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, wherein the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees are described. This material world is full of dangers at every step. But a devotee who has no fear because devotional service is so auspicious that it automatically um, counteracts all kinds of bad luck. Since hearing about Prithu Maharaj is one of the items of devotional service, Shavadam, naturally hearing about him brings all good fortune. Hare Krishna.
अस्पष्ट कीर्ति सुयशा, जिसका कीर्ति अब तक प्रकट नहीं हुआ है, he will attain सुयशा मूर्खो भवति पंडिता, and मूर्ख will become pandit. इति स्वस्तनयं पुंसाम amangalam nivaranam. All sorts of misfortune can be destroyed by simply studying and being absorbed in the pastimes of Maharaj Prithu. Right? Punya Shravana Kirtana. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the material world, everybody wants puja, labh, pratishtha, profit, adoration, and distinction, some reputation. And by associating in different ways with devotees and with the Supreme Lord and his devotees, even if one is not known or recognized by the society, he becomes very famous and important if he takes to devotional service and preaching. Powerful thing, right? If he takes to devotional service and preaching, you will become very famous. Please preach. That is Bhagavatam. Okay. So, why? Because it's the reciprocation by the Supreme Lord. Because we are making Lord famous. Lord says, oh, you are making me famous, I will make you famous. Right? Srila Prabhupada made Krishna famous, and Lord Krishna made Srila Prabhupada so famous. Like Mangalarti, the Kirtan, Hare Krishna Kirtan goes on 24 hours a day across the globe. Similarly, Guru Puja, which is glorifying Srila Prabhupada, also goes on 24 hours a day across the globe. Right? By the time one Guru Puja is over, another temple in another part, by the virtue of the time lapse, starts another Guru Puja, third Guru Puja. So Lord says, because you are making me famous, ye yathavam prapadyante, I will make you famous. And therefore, the devotee also becomes very famous and important when he takes on to devotional service and preaching, and vice versa is also true. If we go away from devotional service, if we go away from preaching and just focus on some upadharma, then our fame will start reducing, right? So one should be exclusively focused on devotional service and spreading the devotional service across. Srila Prabhupada says this material world is full of danger at every step. Padam padam, yat vipadam natesham, right? But the nature of devotional service is that it will remove all the misfortune, amangalam nivaranam, and therefore, hearing about Maharaj Prithu, all amangala will be completely destroyed. Amangalam nivaranam, right? So here it is, murkho bhavati panditaha aspashto kirti suyasha. Very, very beautiful. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura
Thank
Bhakta
you,
Vrinda ki jai.
Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you very much,
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank
Thank you,
you, Prabhuji. Hare
Prabhuji. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Haribol.